Welcome to our deep dive into The Bad Beginning, the first book in Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. I think most people listening are probably hoping to get a quick understanding of this classic, right?
You're absolutely right.
Okay, good. So we're going to break down the plot and characters and themes for you in just a few minutes.
Think of it as a like a shortcut to feeling in the know,
Yeah.
about this darkly humorous children's story.
Perfect. Yeah, great. So let's just start at the very beginning. What can you tell us about the Baudelaire children and the tragedy that really sets this whole story in motion?
Well, the story opens by introducing us to Violet, Klaus, and Sonny Baudelaire. Three intelligent and resourceful children who live a happy life with their wealthy parents until, that is, a mysterious fire engulfs their home,
A fire.
leaving them orphaned.
Oh, that's terrible. So what happens to the children after this? Where do they end up?
They're placed in the care of a distant relative, Count Olaf, who, well, he turns out to be anything but a loving guardian. Yeah. He's a greedy and conniving actor with a penchant for the theatrical, and his interest in the children stems solely from their inheritance.
That sounds ominous.
Hmm.
So how does Count Olaf treat the children when they arrive at his, it sounds like a pretty gloomy home, right?
He treats them terribly. He forces them to do endless chores, provides them with only one bed, like for all three of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and subjects them to constant threats and intimidation.
Jeez. So it sounds like Olaf's true nature is revealed pretty quickly through his treatment of the children. I mean, does he ever try to hide his greed or anything?
Not really, no. I mean, he sees them as obstacles to his main goal, which is to acquire their fortune.
Wow. Their misfortune is really starting to unfold.
Mhm.
What are some specific examples that stand out to you as, Count Olaf's cruelty?
One striking example is he forces them to cook this elaborate dinner, right, for his theater troupe, and gives them a single dirty onion as ingredients.
Single dirty onion.
A single dirty onion,
Wow.
and threatens them with violence if they fail. He also makes them sleep in this, cramped, dusty tower room with only one rickety bed.
That's awful. So what do the Baudelaires do in response to this? I mean, do they just resign themselves to their fate?
Absolutely not. Despite their circumstances, the children display this remarkable resilience,
Okay.
and they use their unique talents to resist Olaf's schemes. You see, Violet, the eldest, she's a gifted inventor.
Okay.
Klaus is a voracious reader
Mhm.
with, a really vast knowledge base.
Yeah.
And even baby Sunny, despite her limited vocabulary, she possesses these, surprisingly strong teeth
Uh-huh.
and a talent for biting.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they sound like quite the trio. Can you give me an example of how they actually use these skills to try and outsmart Count Olaf?
Well, early on in the book, Olaf attempts to trick Violet into signing a document that would grant him control of her fortune. But Violet, being the skilled inventor that she is, she uses her knowledge of mechanical devices to fashion a grappling hook so she can escape his clutches, at least temporarily.
That's really clever. So how does their struggle with Count Olaf, how does that evolve as the story progresses? Does it remain confined to the walls of his dilapidated mansion?
No, the story takes a more dramatic turn when Count Olaf decides to stage a play.
Okay.
And he concocts this plan to marry Violet during the performance, to gain legal control over her inheritance.
A play. That seems that's a pretty elaborate scheme. How's he going to pull that off?
He creates a play specifically designed to facilitate his plan, utilizing these obscure legal loopholes, right?
Yeah.
And manipulating the script to force Violet into a staged marriage.
Wow, that's devious. Do the other children become aware of Count Olaf's scheme? I mean, how did they react when they figure it out?
Klaus, the bookworm, he stumbles upon a legal document in Justice Strauss's library that sheds light on Olaf's marriage plot. And so he realizes that the play is not merely a theatrical performance, but really a sinister plan in disguise.
So who's Justice Strauss, and how does she fit into all of this?
Justice Strauss is a kind and intelligent neighbor who becomes a source of solace for the children.
Okay.
Her home, particularly her library, serves as a refuge from the horrors of Count Olaf's mansion.
She sounds like a real glimmer of hope in their otherwise pretty bleak situation.
Yeah.
How does she help the children?
While she doesn't uncover Olaf's plot, she provides the children with kindness and intellectual stimulation, I guess, and a sense of normalcy. And that's really starkly absent in their lives with Olaf.
Okay, so Klaus is now aware of Olaf's marriage scheme. How does the story move towards its climax? What happens during this play?
The play becomes a tense showdown with the audience, totally oblivious to the real drama, unfolding behind the theatrical facade. The children desperately try to signal for help. While Olaf, disguised as this, as a foreign groom, prepares to force Violet into this sham marriage.
Wow, this deep dive's getting intense. I'm dying to know how it all ends. What happens to the children after the play? Does Count Olaf face any consequences?
Unfortunately, while Olaf's plan is ultimately thwarted, he manages to escape, leaving the Baudelaires in a very precarious position.
That's a real cliffhanger. This deep dive is already so fascinating. I can't wait to hear what happens next. But unfortunately, we're out of time for this segment. We'll be back soon to continue our exploration of the bad beginning.
So the play may be over, but the Baudelaire's troubles are far from finished.
That's right. Count Olaf may have escaped, but the fallout from his actions is pretty significant. What happens to the children immediately after the play's kind of chaotic ending?
Well, even though they exposed Olaf's treachery, the children are still left to deal with the aftermath.
Right.
They are questioned by authorities, and while some, like Justice Strauss, believe their story, others remain skeptical.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
Yeah.
given the outlandishness of Olaf's scheme, it must be pretty frustrating for the children to have their experiences doubted.
It is, definitely. The book really highlights the power dynamics, between adults and children, showing how children's voices are often, dismissed or ignored, even when they're telling the truth.
It's kind of a recurring theme in the book, isn't it? This idea that adults can be oblivious to the suffering of children, or worse, even actively contribute to it.
Exactly. And in this case, despite their ordeal, the Baudelaire orphans are still, still subject to the whims of the adult world. They find themselves once again at the mercy of a bureaucratic system that seems more concerned with following protocol than ensuring their safety and well-being.
So what becomes of the children? Where do they end up after the play? Do they remain with Justice Strauss? I mean, she seems like the only adult who truly cares for them.
Sadly, no. Even though Justice Strauss desires to adopt the Baudelaires, she's legally unable to. The authorities, sticking strictly to the stipulations of the Baudelaire, will decide to send the children to another distant relative.
That's heartbreaking. After finding even just a moment of peace and stability with Justice Strauss, they're thrown back into this uncertainty. Does the book tell us anything about this new guardian?
Yes, it does. Their next guardian is a man named Mr. Poe, a banker who is responsible for managing the Baudelaire fortune.
Okay.
And overseeing the children's welfare. However, he's a rather inept and easily swayed character, often failing to see through Count Olaf's disguises and manipulations.
So even though Olaf has been, exposed,
Mhm.
he still poses a threat to the children.
Absolutely. The ending of the bad beginning is it's far from a happy one. While Count Olaf is thwarted in this particular scheme, he escapes justice, which foreshadows, his continued pursuit of the Baudelaire fortune and hints at further unfortunate events to come.
That ending leaves the reader with this real sense of dread, doesn't it? Knowing that more hardship awaits these children is almost unbearable.
It does, and the sense of foreboding is heightened by Snicket's unique narrative style. Throughout the book, he directly addresses the reader, often warning them of the unpleasant events about to unfold, or commenting on the absurdity of the situations the children find themselves in.
Right. It's like it's almost as if he's a character in the story himself.
Yeah.
Right. Both a narrator and a participant in the events, guiding the reader through this kind of dark and twisted tale.
Exactly, and that narrative style contributes to the book's darkly comedic tone, Snicket's his witty observations and wordplay that create the sense of humor that's both entertaining and unsettling. It kind of reflects the bizarre and often cruel nature of the world he depicts.
It's a strange mix, isn't it? This blend of tragedy and comedy, of childhood innocence clashing with the harsh realities of the adult world.
It is, and Snicket, he navigates this, this tonal complexity brilliantly. He doesn't shy away from portraying the darkness and suffering that the children, endure. But he
Yeah.
also infuses the story with humor and wit, which makes it, it makes it a surprisingly engaging read despite its bleak subject matter.
Speaking of engaging, one of the things I found fascinating about the book was Snicket's use of vocabulary lessons.
Mm.
He seems to take like this real delight in introducing unusual words and providing their definitions. It's almost as if he's educating the reader, right alongside the children.
That's a great observation, and I think those vocabulary lessons, they serve multiple purposes, right? On one level, they're simply entertaining and informative, expanding the reader's lexicon. But on a deeper level, they also highlight the intelligence and curiosity of the Baudelaire children, who are constantly seeking knowledge and understanding despite their dire circumstances.
You're right. It's a subtle way of emphasizing their resilience,
Yeah.
right, and their desire to learn, even when the world around them seems determined to keep them in the dark.
Yeah.
And I think it's those qualities, their resilience, their intelligence, their love for each other, that make us root for them, even knowing that their journey is far from over.
Absolutely. The Baudelaire children, despite all of their misfortunes, they remain the heart and soul of this story. And their determination to survive, to make sense of their world, that's what keeps us turning the pages, even when those pages are filled with tales of woe and misfortune.
Well said. And with that, I think we've reached the end of this segment of our deep dive into The Bad Beginning. But don't worry, we'll be back soon to wrap up our discussion and explore the lasting impact of this, darkly captivating tale. Welcome back to our deep dive into The Bad Beginning.
Mhm.
We've really explored the Baudelaire orphans' journey through Count Olaf's treachery, and I'm eager to kind of discuss the lasting impact of this story.
Indeed. I mean, despite being categorized as children's literature, The Bad Beginning really grapples with some complex, thought-provoking themes.
Absolutely. For a book with such a bleak title, it surprisingly manages to offer quite a bit of depth, for readers to ponder. What are some of the key takeaways that resonated with you after finishing the book?
Well, one of the most prominent themes is resilience in the face of adversity. The Baudelaire children, despite being constantly bombarded with misfortunes, they never give up.
Yeah.
They use their intelligence and creativity and their strong bond as siblings to navigate all the challenges thrown their way.
It's really inspiring to see how they refuse to be defined by their circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, their perseverance is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope and ingenuity can prevail.
Precisely. And it's not just about, overcoming external obstacles, but also about facing internal struggles. The children, that they grapple with grief and fear and uncertainty, yet they find the strength to move forward.
Right. And let's not forget the importance of found family. I mean, while blood relatives like Count Olaf's prove to be, untrustworthy, the children find solace and support in unexpected places, like with Justice Strauss.
That's a crucial point. The Bad Beginning challenges this conventional notion of family, suggesting that true kinship can be found beyond biological ties. Justice Strauss, though not related by blood, offers the children genuine care and understanding, which is something that their own distant relative fails to provide.
It really highlights that the bonds we forge through shared experiences and mutual respect
Yeah.
can be just as strong, if not stronger, than those determined by lineage. And I think that message resonates with readers of all ages.
Absolutely. And beyond these heartwarming elements, the book also doesn't shy away from exposing the darker aspects of human nature. Count Olaf, I mean, he embodies greed and selfishness and a complete disregard for the well-being of others.
Yeah, his character serves as a real stark contrast to the Baudelaire children, highlighting their inherent goodness
Yeah.
and emphasizing the dangers of unchecked ambition and self-serving manipulation.
Indeed, and it's through this juxtaposition that Snicket encourages encourages readers to critically examine the world around them,
Yeah.
questioning the motives of those in positions of power and recognizing the importance of standing up against injustice.
Those are powerful messages for young readers to absorb, and I think they're made all the more effective through Snicket's unique writing style. You
Yeah.
know, his darkly comedic tone, his direct address to the reader, his playful use of language. It all creates a reading experience that's both entertaining and thought provoking.
I agree. It's a style that manages to balance tragedy and humor in a way that's both unsettling and captivating. And it's a style that makes these complex themes accessible to a younger audience without diluting their impact.
The Bad Beginning is ultimately a story about finding strength in adversity,
Mm-hmm.
and the importance of kindness and compassion and the enduring power of hope. It's a book that stays with you long after you finished reading, prompting reflection on the complexities of the human experience and the enduring strength of the human spirit.
And for our listeners embarking on this series, I hope you find solace in the Baudelaire's resourcefulness
Mm.
and recognize that even in the face of relentless misfortune, there's always something worth fighting for.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Bad Beginning. We hope you've gained a deeper understanding of this darkly delightful tale, and that you'll continue to explore the world of a series of unfortunate events. Until next time, stay curious.